Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to do Gunslinger Spawn issue number 1 by Image Comics. So there is a Gunslinger Spawn now, and there's also a lot of other spawns. And I picked this up because I like the premise, a cowboy spawn, supernatural one, but then, spawn. Now I must admit that I have not read a spawn since issue 100. I believe that was the Alex Ross cover, the last one. So there's many moons ago. So I have no idea why there are many spawns, because there is a she spawn, there is some kind of a monster spawn or whatever. So I tried to pick it up and think, maybe I'm liking this book because it's made by not only then Todd McFarlane, but also Brad Booth, who is the artist. And as you can see here, Brad Booth, Philip Tan, Kevin Keane, Thomas Netschlik, or something like that. And it's written by Todd McFarlane. There's 3 stories in here. I focus only on the main story, and that's this one. So let's start here. Gunslinger Spawn comes from the past, and he has been, quote unquote, not quote unquote, but he's been somehow transported to the present. We don't know why. It's not being explained why. So I tried to find some back issues or some explanation. I couldn't find any. There is a backstory on King Spawn number 1 that I reviewed on my channel. But I didn't go into that particular story, but it's very minimalistic. Anyway, let's go back a little bit to that later. So let's start here. So Gunslinger Spawn talks to normal Spawn about a certain event or something. And so he gets on his motorbike and he, drives away, and then the bike gets, lost. Well, I try to find a word. Doesn't have gas anymore, and Gunslinger Spawn doesn't know that because he's a little bit unfamiliar with the modern technology, although he just rides a bike, which was a little bit strange. How he got the bike, I don't know. But we switch to a young man called Taylor. And Taylor has a job at a gas station, and his boss is leaving. He says, hey, watch this, close, yada yada yada, and he says, "Yeah, man, I'm not a child anymore. I know what to do." So the boss is leaving, and then his friends comes, and he says, "Hey, road trip." Well, not so it's road trip, but they come here to taking away because they have some party going on. So Taylor just leaves his, I don't know, the shop, and then he have some fun with his friends, and then. They drink and they have fun, and there's women or girls, and then he comes back, and when he goes back into the shop, he sees the gun. The motorcycle of Spawn, and then he says, "Hey, what is that thing doing here?" And then we see Gunslinger Spawn holding a sort of shotgun to his face, and he says, "Put your hands where I can see them. You understand me, boy?" I like the fact that he is still talking like he's in the West. And he says, "You got a name, son?" He says, "I'm Taylor. First or last name?" He said, "My name is Taylor Bartlett." And so he says, "I'm going to ask you some questions, boy, if that is okay with you." So he says, "You know something about a contraption that won't work?" So Taylor examines the motor, and he says, chuckles, so he laughs a little bit. "Dude, you are just out of gas," and that enrages Spawn because he don't know what gas is. He says, "Are you screwing with me? What the hell are you talking about?" And Taylor becomes really scared. Then we skip to this meeting in some kind of a private museum between Mexico and Arizona, and we see, I believe, angels and demons talking about certain topics. They talk about Cogliostro. If you follow Spawn comics, Cogliostro was, I don't know, a very old man that lives in the slums, and he's a friend of Spawn, normal Spawn. But that's about it. I don't know, but it seems that Cogliostro is way more than what he appears to be. and that he tried to recruit another spawn called Gunslinger Spawn, and that failed. I know nothing about the whole recruitment process or why it's important. So, like I said, I don't know nothing about what happened between issue 100 and where they are now. I believe that, what am I trying to say? Issue 300 and something. So I missed a lot of years about Spawn. So yeah, there's that. So they try to, catch or kill Gunslinger Spawn for whatever reason. What I also learned that this version Spawn or Gunslinger Spawn, I don't know, also know how he became Spawn, is that he also is the weakest of all spawns. The thing that I like about this Gunslinger Spawn, I read it in King Spawn, Jesus Christ, that he lost his sister, and a group of bandits or whatever they are killed normal Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn. They are shooting him, hanging him, skinning his face off, and I believe they killed his sister. So not entirely sure. And then he wants revenge, but then he got transported into the present. Like I said, there's a lot of background story that I don't know, and that's also one of the biggest gripes that I have with this book, although very small. Biggest gripes, although very small. What am I saying? I'm contradicting myself. What I'm trying to say with that is that this is not very reader friendly. You have to go buy King Spawn to figure out who this and that is. Oh, you have to buy Spawn Universe issue number 1 shot to get this kind of information about this and that. I really don't like that. I'm, as you know, I read a lot of comics. I'm very into comics. I do a lot of trying to do a lot of background information, get a lot of background information about certain comics and characters. But if you are just a guy and it says, hey, there's another Spawn, and you pick it up from your local comic book store, you order it online, this is not explaining anything who is Gunslinger Spawn or what his motivations are. So yeah, not really good. Okay, moving on. That was my rant, a little bit of a rant. So Gunslinger Spawn is, try to figure out how it all works in this world, and he says, you're telling me that if I figure out these gas stations, tires and highway things, I can keep traveling. So Taylor says yes, and he also wants to know. Let's say Taylor learns him a little bit about social media, and he says, if you don't understand something, just look it up, Google it. And he says, what's a Google? Like your phone. So they're going outside, and Spawn is somehow needs to go to Twin Butts. And I'm not sure what that is, or Twin Butts. Is that how you say it? He's looking for that, and Taylor says, are you kidding me? I said, what do you think? Well, you're here already. This huge sign wasn't big enough for you. And Spawn gets annoyed, and he says, you can read. You can read this, can you? And he says, no. And then Taylor says, how did you survive this whole time? And he says, this is how I survive. And he shows his guns, his knife, and he has a big knife in his head. And yeah, this makes it immediately interesting. This is a man out of time trying to figure it out, how it all works. And this he's also intimidating this young man, but also trying to help him. Very fun dynamic. And she said, I got a lot of knives. You want to see it? I said, no, says Taylor, that's okay. So Spawn says, let's get back to the writing machine. Can you get it started for me? And Taylor says, well, not here, but I got equipment in my dad's garage. And that's going to be faster, so we could tune your puppy up a little bit. So so Spawn says, well, let's go to your dad, then to your house. And says, no, we can't do that, says Taylor. And Spawn says, why? Well, it seems, and that's a little bit strange, he says, I'm not allowed home until my dad calls me to say it's okay, or he comes and picks me up. I don't have a car. So Spawn says, your pa don't you like home? That seems strange to you. Yeah, that's really strange. So and then he gets attacked by this, I believe, an angel, and they start to fight. And Spawn shoots his weapons, and Spawn is not an idiot. He knows certain weaknesses about angels. It seems that if you are shooting the angels' wings, they really get into some kind of a bloodlust frenzy, because according to angel lore or something, they consider it blasphemy if you shoot or touch or maim or something with their wings. And Spawn knows that, so he acts upon that, and he shoots them in the face, and he's dead. So and that's the only way that they can be killed, just like a zombie, but not with normal bullets. You need to have special bullets also. And then there's some crude, macabre humor going on that I like. So Spawn says, "Hey, here, hold my gun, and I'm going to show you something." So he puts the angel against some kind of a pole and ties him up. And he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" says Taylor. "Isn't he already dead?" Yeah, he says, "Yeah, he is, but you need to learn something. I want to teach you how to kill an angel, especially dark-winged ones. There's only a couple of ways." So he shoots the angel in the chest, but he says, that won't you do any good, he says. That won't kill him. You need to kill them in the head. So he points him and shoots the angel again in the head. And then when that's not going to work and you run out of bullets, you can use knives. You see this already maimed, killed, dead, maimed angel. And she says, "You need special bullets to stop them, but I'm going to show you later." And he says, "You want to try?" He says to Taylor, says, No, I'm good. Also says, it cracks me up too. So you don't need to get rid of the body. It seems that they are dissolving or something. Because God made them that way, because God wants to make sure humans don't know about all the crap he's up to. Yeah, that was funny. So they go to Taylor's home, but Taylor's very uneasy because he doesn't like it when he gets home unannounced, because his pa or his father doesn't like that, because he got really angry. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to show you. So the reason for that, so Taylor comes in and he shows that his dad is talking to angels. And then he's been discovered, and he says, "Hey, Dad." And then his dad says, "What are you doing? I told you never to come here until I get you. You idiot, are you deaf?" And then the angels grab him, and he says, "We know he's your son, but we can't have any human knowing we're here." And then they want to kill him. They basically, they want not only to kill him, they want to bury him alive in the backyard. But then his scumbag dad says, Taylor says, "Help, Dad, help me." He says, "I'm sorry, Taylor, but this is your fault. You've got no one else to blame but yourself." He says, "Dad, please." And then Spawn comes in to the rescue, and it concludes this story for now. Then we go into issue number 2. Yeah. Great stuff, and art, Brad Booth art, it's really cool. I'm going to show you a couple of pages of the filler stories here. I'm not going into that because that's another 10-20 minutes that I have to spend on this. These are just more filler stories about what happened in the timeline that, in the West. And there's some cool stories here, I must admit. I like also the art, and it's very dark. So there's some great stuff in here, great nice mini stories, if you will. But that's about it. And they also do this stuff again. I still didn't know what this all meant. And I never liked it then, and and don't like it now either. And we have an interview of Brad Booth, with Brad Booth, I mean. And then we also have some ads for Scorched with the female Spawn. A lot of Spawn comics. I'm glad that Todd McFarlane is doing new stuff with Spawn, because it was getting stale, I think. So this is, how do you say, reinvigorating or re-energizing the franchise. And he's doing a bang-up job. I mean, this new Spawn comics is selling like hotcakes. Yeah, I liking it. I'm just, it throws you right into the action. To be honest, I like this Spawn a little bit more than Al Simmons. Yeah. We'll see what happens in the next issue, guys. So far, so good. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.